Hi, I'm Justin with Tab Performance, and today I'm going to take you through the installation of a Motohooligan Super Intake on Harley-Davidson V-ROD. Okay, the first thing we got to do is take off the airbox cover on the V-ROD. On the Muscle, it's got these two side panels, so you've got to take off the 5 bolts. It's just really easy. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and lift open the seat and take this top box airbox cover off. You just twist the thumb screw, lift up, and then okay, now we're going to go ahead and just take a flathead screwdriver. You can pop off all these. There's 3 on each side, and then there is one kind of in the front towards the bottom that's a little bit different, but it's a latch as well. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove this IAT sensor. Just push down on that and pull it out, and then you should be able to pop this off. Okay, so you'll probably notice that yours doesn't look like ours does on the inside. This is for our Exotic Customs air ride suspension system. This is the air compressor, some dump valves, and wiring for that. But what you'll see on the inside of yours is this factory filter and box. So you're just going to go ahead, this is a thumb screw, unscrew the top of this, pull the top of this cover off, and pull your stock air filter out. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is pull up these O-rings on the velocity stack so we can get to the Allen bolts here. And there's 3 Allen bolts per velocity stack. Just use a 3/16 Allen wrench. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove this oil hose, and then you're going to have to kind of push it. It's a real tight fit, but just push it out the back end of there, and that'll allow you to completely remove this airbox. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is remove this cylinder rod. Also be really careful with this gasket, and you might even consider buying a new one. If you see any damage to that gasket, it's important to make a good seal with that gasket. So basically, just anything you can do to get a really good tight hold on this, get it loose. Once you get it loose, you can untwist it by hand. Okay, now your Motohooligan Super Intake comes fully assembled, so you can kind of see how it goes together. And it's easier to ship that way, but we are going to need to disassemble it and kind of reassemble it on the bike. So first thing you're going to do is just take 5/32 Allen and take off the 3 top screws here. We already went ahead and loosened them. You're going to go ahead and remove this top plate, as well as the filter. And then there are 2 Allen bolts in between the velocity stacks, you'll notice. I'll go ahead and remove those as well. Okay, now that we've gone ahead and removed those 2 screws in between the velocity stacks, we'll be able to remove this base plate here. Now be careful not to lose these 2 O-rings here. Okay, now we're going to take this base plate and the factory screws, and this is only goes on there one way, so you don't have to worry about that. Just get it kind of lined up again, being real careful with that gasket, making sure everything's seated properly, and then you'll just go in and put in. Okay, so another thing not to forget is we'll need to actually take, you'll see there's this line that goes down into there. We'll need to remove this from the factory breather. So you just pop that line out, and again kind of push it out the back end here. and we'll need that piece to go back in. Okay, now we're to the point, probably the most difficult part of the installation, putting in the crankcase breather hoses. And so what we're going to do is remove the factory hoses. The kit comes with 2 aftermarket hoses, so just get in here with a pair of pliers, squeeze that clamp so that you can pull the factory clamp off. Okay, so now we're going to take the larger of the 2 supplied hoses, and we're going to go ahead and slide it over. Once you got it completely slid over, you'll take one of the larger ring clamps, slide that down. Okay, once you got it slid down on there, and you've got it good clamping surface, just go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, this is that piece that we pulled out of the factory air box. So we're just going to go ahead and pull that factory hose off and get the supplied aftermarket hose. Again, just get it slid on there nice and tight. We'll run that ring clamp. Get it tightened down. Alright, so now that you've got this aftermarket hose attached with the ring clamp tightened down, this is going to fit right down in there. Now, this is really important to make a nice snug fit. You'll kind of feel it click in there. If you don't get that fit in there right, and you go to start your bike and you get oil spilling down all over your engine, that's the mistake you made. You didn't get this properly seated in there. Okay, so again, this piece comes out. So once you've made your cut and measurement, you know, and you're trying to get all your hoses put together, you might pull this piece back out. Again, don't forget slide your ring clamps on before you slide your hoses over. So we're going to kind of get everything put back together now, tighten down our ring clamps, and we'll be on to the next step. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove the factory AIT sensor. To do that, you're just going to come on the back side of this air box and take a pair of pliers, kind of squeeze this together and give it a little push, and that sensor will pop out. Okay, now we're going to take that factory AIT sensor, and again, you know, leaving the base plate unbolted, to the bottom of the base plate, we're going to snug that in, make sure it's good and secure, and that O-ring makes a good seal, and then you can go ahead and plug that connection back in as well. We're going to go ahead and bolt our base plate down to the spacer now. Okay. One of the ways you can tell that this is properly lined up is by putting this top plate on with the filter removed. You can just line up your bolt holes here, and then make sure that that notch fits in there. Okay, alright, now we're ready to install the filter. It comes pre-oiled, so you don't need to add any more oil to it. The side with the kind of a slope to it goes down. It doesn't matter which side you put on, facing forward or backwards. So get that nice and seated. So you should see the Motohooligan logo on top. That's nice and seated. Grab the top plate. Get lined up. Again, make sure that it seats on that filter. Then we'll go ahead and put our screws back in, get everything put back together, and we should be good to go.